And
Say one was fine.
I say, got it. Got it.
Well, what if you got-
Right now, recording is
What
paused
if you
still.
did a
Oh, still setting up.
remote
Well, it's still
mouse
something,
or-
what you want to check.
I mean, I'm using
Tuesday.
the touchpad now, so I can still make it function, it's just.
The volume's on, so it'll start to reverb, so you can close that in. So
So
you can actually close this browser right here. Yep, because that's just showing you your stream. And then you can hit your recording. Hit the play button. We probably need to wait for Chuck to come back.
We lost Chuck.
All right, he'll pop back up in a minute. That'll give you a chance to.
We lost Chuck.
There
he
it
is.
is.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Did Brian got the tape on and everything?
not yet.
The mayor's, I'll wait, is the mayor's gone for a minute or what?
You go ahead and start.
No, he's at the other end of the table. You can't see him.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay, you can go now.
I'm doing textable.
Okay, at 6:01 PM on the 14th of February, we'll call this council, a finance meeting to order. Brian, would you like to do roll call for me?
Keller,
Present.
McCrary,
Present.
Cosgray,
Present.
Also in attendance, it looks like the mayor's there, the village administrator, Terry, of course, the fiscal officer, Brian, and I seen Darla. I see Brandy Way. I don't know who else is there, but is Rick there or anything?
Rick's not here. Debbie Shopper is.
Okay, Debbie's here. Okay. I need to make a motion. Someone needs to make a motion, since I can't, that we approve the minutes of the December 13th, 2021 meeting.
I'd like to move to approve the minutes from the December, what did we say, 20?
No, the December 13th.
13.
Yeah, we didn't have a meeting in January.
Yeah, December 13th, 2021.
Osprey, second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Brian?
Okay. Chuck,
Yes.
Wade,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Visitors, I don't know if anybody's on Zoom or not. Are we zooming this anything?
yes, and no one,
That's how you're here.
Well, I know I am, but I mean, anybody else?
no one else is on.
Okay. Any of the other council member have anything to say at this time? Okay. Looking in the agenda there, I see where where Terry or Terry, I don't know what's Terry put that on there, the duties of the finance committee. This is a good idea.
Are we leaving those on permanently?
I think it's a good reference point.
Just leave it on?
Yes.
Okay.
All committees have them on their sheets. I think it's a good reference point.
Yeah, I think so too. Before I go into anything else, I know we did this in the past. When we have a committee, we always nominate or appoint a vice chair. So at this time, I'd like to appoint Brandy as the vice chairman of the finance committee.
She's
Second.
excited.
I'll second that.
I'm glad you said that, Wade. Good. So she can sign, she can do all the signing from now on till I get back. Okay, goals for 2022. And this was what we did last year, and I think it works, going to work again this year. Keep spending within the 2022 appropriations. And we got to keep Brian straight. So, and I know he'll keep us straight. So I think that's a very good goal. Anybody want to add anything else? Okay. Go into old business? None, I guess. Well, we didn't have a meeting in January. And I think, in December, we must have got everything in order. So new business, review of the monthly financials. Brian, you want to take over?
Okay, so for, yeah, I got 2 months worth because we didn't meet last month, so like December.
Yeah,
Can I, since
Go ahead.
Darla and Debbie are here, first finance meeting,
Mhm.
I know we usually rip right through them,
Yeah,
but slow down 75% speed and explain the reports and what they are, how you put them together.
Do you want to put them up on the?
okay, I'll move it. All right, the first one here is December 31st, 2021. This is just a summary page here that shows that the book balance, which is UAN, which stands for United Accounting Network. Gotta have to think about that. I just call it UAN. There's the book balances of $2.2 million. And then the adjusted bank balance, by entering the bank balances, taking into consideration deposit trends and outstanding checks. And as you can see, they match. This is just a summary page. This page here just shows what we have. The primary represents what the money that is in the checking account and the Star House and investment account that we have. So it's giving you this column here, what I entered the prior bank balance, and that would be the December balances, or let's see anything about that. The prior bank balance, that would be November, what I entered in November. And then the calculated bank balance, what the system calculates, and then what I entered, and the difference, and it shows a difference of $296.81, which will be explained because it's all ties into the outstanding deposits. Here's the outstanding checklist. As you can see, we still got some old ones out there. I'll clean those up here shortly. I have $7,585.30, or is it 85 or 65? Looks like an 8, but I think it's a 6. What I mean by cleaning up those old ones, the ones that have been outstanding since 2020, I will avoid those in the system. And what happens to those is they go into what we call, we created a few years ago, an unclaimed fund. And then I'm supposed to publish a list, let the people know, hey, I got these monies for you. Yeah. And if they stays in there after, if I have to do that once a year for 5 years, and after 5 years, it reverts to the general fund. And I have a spreadsheet inside my computer here that lets me know when I record that in the general fund. Outstanding receipts. We had mainly what this is your outstanding deposits for the month. Usually it makes up the credit cards, credit card transactions that Missy takes in at the end of the month, the last day, because they don't post the bank until the next day or so. 371. And what I mean, and then if you look at the on the front page again, I got little notes. Forgot about that. Wrong one. Okay, so we have 2 accounts associated at Park National. One, the general checking account, and we have a what they call public funds sweep account. And what that does, the bank automatically moves money between those accounts. We try to maintain, I think it's set up, we maintain about 100,000 in the checking account at all times. So when it goes above 100,000, usually at the first of the month, it gets up about 100. They'll move money from the checking account into that sweep account as an investment account, and vice versa. That occurs throughout the month. At the end of the month, there's always one transaction that goes from the sweep account to the general account that doesn't catch, and then that's what that $5 represents. So basically, that's using adjustment. Sometimes it's been as high as $4,000. So that's what that reconciliation note is. Transfer from public funds sweep account. That $5 is basically a fee that the bank charges to provide us with our image, our check images, which we're required to have. The second note there is about that outstanding deposit. Receipts not in UAN, $296.81. That's, you saw that difference, that calculated on the next page. Remember that? The 296.81. Well, that is what this is my new headache. Yeah, I need, yeah. This is my headache now. Basically, when we started a few months ago, we went into, people can now pay their water utility bills online through the website. So we signed a contract with Municipay, and it's now become my headache because represents the other 296 represents a Municipay credit card transaction that partially cleared at 12/31. So of the total receipt of $503, $296 cleared on 12/31. The rest of it didn't clear until January 3rd. So that's why that particular receipt is on the outstanding list. And it's the only way I can get the balance is to, and I have to go through all of those. I go through those every week. I clear transactions once a week. And Municipay is my headache because I'll have a batch Missy takes in of, let's say, $5,000, let's say. And I go through the list and, okay, these four cleared on this day, and then I'll go to the next one, and it's a pain right now. So you'll probably see this note more often every month because of when credit card transactions at Municipay that she takes through the website when they clear. All right, outstanding, how are you got outstanding payments? Moving on. Next one's payment listing for the month of December, and I can't remember how much it, I think I said that, well, how much we spent December. I brought it to your attention. That's, oh, come on. Yeah, in December, $415,686.23 worth we had disbursements in the month of December. The big chunk,
OWDA,
yeah, the big one,
186.
yes, 186, 350, 692 was the big, that always occurs on the last day of the year. So when I talk about banks automatically move money, it's a good thing that they do that because when that transact, the bank account for that particular day is in the hole like 100,000. So thank God that they do that, and otherwise I'd forget probably. That's just.
If only your computers have reminders.
Yeah, yeah. I don't recall anything else on this particular month that was, I think I talked about this previous month. So that's pretty much it for the bank reconciliation in December. January. All right.
Brian, you want a motion?
Not
So
yet,
we
Chuck.
do- Not yet, okay,
Not yet. We'll
Yeah.
wait till,
okay, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
you're fine. This is the bank reconciliation at the end of January. There's another one of those adjustments, 642 explained below. As you can see, the balance in UAN as well as the bank balances, we end up at $2,559,195.66. Again, $5 transfer between the sweep account to the general account, and another Municipay credit card transaction that partially cleared on 1/31 versus this one was part of it cleared on 1/31, part of it cleared on February 1st, and the rest of it cleared on February 2nd.
I'm not familiar with this, but why does that have to transpire over 3 transactions versus?
We haven't figured that out. I have not figured that out yet, to tell you the truth.
It has to do with the credit card process and how
Yes.
to do it. I remember back when I was a student employee, or you would take it, your credit card machine says, here's the money you took on this day. But it just has to do when the bank does portions of it. Interestingly enough, if you look at your Amazon orders and like actually look at the orders, they do the same thing. You'll pay $120 to Amazon and, $58.37 will come out this day, $42 the next day, and then the rest of it on the third day sometimes.
It's just one of those things. Missy, with the other machine, Missy, posts or balances out the end of each day. And when she hits that, clears that one, it posts. But it all clears at one time, 2 days later with Park National. Through Municipal Pay, you might have some pay on Friday, you might have a few on Saturday, Sunday. When they post, I guess, like the mayor said, once they hit okay, she don't get notified till Monday. She makes all the postings in the system, gives it to me, and then they clear it different
And
denominations at different days.
something done, depending on the amount, that was $1,000. When you deposit a check for more than $200, you have access to 200 of it right away, and the rest of it 5 days later. Credit card is along the same lines, not exactly the same. So someone that posted at 131 at 11, the first day it'll actually go through would be the 2-1, or they might do a portion of it on that. It just, because it's 24 hours a day as well.
So that's become my new headache right now.
I did.
Only at the end of the month once though.
Yeah, only the end of the month. Well,
I had a question on a vendor, I guess.
okay.
Lower 48 instruments.
Yes.
2,000.
You're on it. Same question I had.
Those are our flow meters.
Yeah, flow meters.
Okay.
Part of the IMI project.
And the other question was South Central Power,
Mhm.
12,000, was it? Is that-
Yeah, yes. Last month was 12,000. Now, all but 200 of that is Holder Road. The lights out on the Holder Road, that's 200, or it's $200 a month.
And there's one out in front of Raisins.
There is? Well, that would be a street light. I guess we need to,
We just need the full number.
there's a utility light out there. Okay. There's the outstanding checks. That's not, 52,000 in outstanding checks. And of course, in January, we had 2 credit card transactions that were outstanding. The normal one and Municipal Pay. Because I really can't, and even though I can see that part of the receipt went through before the month, I can't clear a whole receipt.
Right.
Until it
Until
actually
it hits the bank.
Yeah. Payment listing. Everything looks normal there. Medical mutuals. You'll see People's Bank every month, 10,000. That's the monthly payment we make on we just took out a loan on in 2016 to upgrade the water treatment plant. That's a monthly payment of $10,757 a month. That $16,000 in Park National is on loans for 2 vehicles.
Sludge hauler.
Yeah, sludge. Okay.
Brian, what's that 32,437?
Is that lower instruments?
Yes,
That's the flow meters for the I project, Chuck.
Okay,
So last month was 218,000. About 200, around between 200 and 225 is normal. Is normal. Okay, that's it for that. Report. Finance report, January's finance report. There, that is a snapshot of, let's see, the first one there on the left, it's the upper left-hand corner, so Ohio. Last month was $45, 50 cents. I, 2 years ago, we were getting $1,000 a month. As you can see from 2020, that's a continuation of a decline in the interest. And to the point where last year was relatively ranged anywhere from $44 to $34 or $37. That's straight line. So hopefully we're going to see this yellow curve let's start going back up. So last month's increase was $45.50. Rita,
Well, so,
Go ahead.
so Star Ohio, that is, it's just a bank account with better interest, correct?
that's correct. Yes.
Which is why they tanked. Had been doing.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of money. A couple of years ago. The next top right-hand corner is the reader distribution. Income taxes collected. Last month we collected, that's $53,753.02. For the month of January, that's about $8,000 less than the previous year.
Do you, what was December, since we didn't do a January report? Do you know what December was?
Yeah, 60,440.
Oh, it's right there. Thanks. Well, I guess what I meant to ask was, how did that compare to the year previous?
I think we were about, if I remember correctly, we were about 15,000 shy of the previous year.
Okay,
It was around 12, anywhere from 12 to 15. It was around the same.
but the end of last year and the first month of this year, the collections are down a little bit from last
Down a
year.
little bit. They were first one in February, 70 something. So,
Oh, so we're already,
yeah, and this is just a snapshot of gross. That of that 53, so much of that goes in the general fund, so much of that goes in the street fund, and 50% of that goes into the pool fund. And the bottom left hand is the appropriation status. I like to measure things how we're doing in relation to the county. Like in January should be within 8% of the total appropriations. Next month it'll be whatever it is, like 16% maybe. As you can see, we've got pie chart there. The general fund was, we spent 5.7% of the budget. Street was 2.8. Water operating was 2.0. Sewer operating was 7.2%. So, and storm, we had nothing last month. So, starting off the year within where we should be.
and we threw this on a couple of years ago. Because I think both when you and I both started, there was nothing like this. And so you could get to August and the fiscal officer at the time would say, oh, by the way, we've used 90% of our money in this and we need to reallocate. We're like, time out. Now we see monthly.
And this is the same report that Brian shares at staff too. So everybody on staff knows exactly what percentage they are where, every month. So I think that has worked well. We started doing that about 3 years ago too.
And then the bottom right is revenue status. So this is for the general fund. Now, what we do here is we kind of look at the big dollar items, like property taxes, income tax.
Your labels are off.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll have to fix that. Local government.
Yeah, no, you got local government funds on there, property tax allocation. Some of the other funds that we get in are tracked on that one.
Biggest.
Okay, yeah. The third one over is what we've done. The fourth one over is rollback of homestead money. The next one, 100,000, that's police contracts. 32,000 is cable franchise fee. Now notice we don't have anything in there yet. That's because property taxes, they distribute twice a year, March and August. So, and same with the rollback of homestead twice a year. The cable franchise fee, we get one check quarterly. And I think we're about due for that. So hopefully by the end of this month, at least by next month, we will see some of this there. And then everything else is lumped in a grand total. The rest of the budget is 56,000. Yeah, 66,600. That's all the other line items within the general fund. Now, we should be at 8%, which we are at local government. Slightly behind the income tax. And everything else. And please come along. That's because Thurston, they write checks monthly. I invoice the school district quarterly. I invoice them earlier this month. They've already paid, so you'll see actually catch itself back on next one. And lastly, any questions on this? And then the last report is the appropriation status. I'll turn it over.
Nope. Use your mouse and hide your bar on the right. Versus right there. Yeah, close that. There you go.
Okay, this is the appropriation. This would be like, rather than give you a 15-page appropriation status report, I condense the general fund down by the specific lines of police enforcement, 3 lines of civil defense. As you can see, except for, looks like one, in the 8% for the month. Mayor's court seat. That's because Missy goes home right now. You guys oversupply us up at once.
That's a pretty standard thing in mayor's courts too, in my in January to use throughout the year.
Just kidding about Missy going home.
Brian, do we have $15 available to order you a wireless USB mouse? Okay. Okay. You're struggling.
Yes, I'll start.
I got you.
Street construction fund, that's a street fund, that's 2.75. We're at 25% of debt service, but that's normal because we pay twice a year. Water fund at 1.92%, as I said earlier. That's.
Yeah, right. About 1.98, yeah.
And sewer operates 7.25. Pool, 0.26. I'm basically right now with pool, I continue to pay an electric, small electric bill as well as keep it running. Grand total all funds 3%. Any questions on that?
Now do you need a motion?
Are you done with all your reports there, Brian?
Done, if there's any, unless there's other questions.
Okay, I just going. Okay, if anybody have any question to Brian? If not, I need a motion to approve December and January financials.
Treasurer makes a motion, we approve the December and January financial report.
Brian, you want 2 motion or can we do it in 1?
You can do it in one. You can do it in one.
Okay. All right, do I hear a second?
McCreary seconds that.
Okay, any more questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, Brian.
Keller?
Yes,
Oh.
I don't know if I can't really vote, so I'll abstain, I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 2-0. Okay, going on into the agenda, I see ordinance 2022-03. And
What council's gonna have hopefully passed tonight is, last month they authorized the purchase of a dump truck. This is for the financing part of it.
yeah, I know we talked about, it, and you was gonna see what kind of interest we was gonna get from the different banks.
Yeah, I said, I'll quote both banks, both came back. Park National is who we went with. They were, if I have to, they were a little bit higher than People's, not much, like 0.15% higher. But People's Bank required a down payment. That's something we did not budget for. And they also required, I mean, that, they threw like a debt covenant of some type of covenant that was like provide them with an audit report. That's not too bad. But what's was the sticker was the down payment part. Park National was requiring that. So we're recommending go with Park National.
Okay, I see that 3.375%. How much down payment do you put on it, you say?
They're not requiring a down payment.
No, and we're not gonna put any down payment?
No. We didn't budget for it, first of all. For one, and then if we did do it, I mean, we could, but if we did, that will take away from some of the street projects. And I don't want
Okay.
to mess with that.
Okay, because I thought we talked about it or something last meeting.
But the nice thing about these loans, Chuck, is that when we do get ahead, Brian can pay them off. Remember, Brian's paying off a couple of loans that we had at the tail end, where unlike our water and our wastewater that we can't pay off early.
Yes,
So at
okay,
least when we go through the local bank like this, we can pay those loans off early if we choose.
well, and that's a good thing. So, anybody have any questions on this ordinance about the 550 dump truck?
Do you need a sponsor?
Yes, I do.
I'll sponsor that out of finance.
You want to make a motion? We take it to Councilman Wade.
Yes, I'll make a motion. We take the ordinance 2022-03 financing of the dump truck to council.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that. McCreary.
Okay, any question on the motion of 2022-03, the 2022 Ford F-550? Hearing none, roll call, Brian.
Okay, Cosgrave,
Yes.
McCurry,
Yes.
Okay, motion carried 2-0. Okay, anybody else have anything that they want to bring up
I
on the
do.
finance committee? Mary?
I do have- Yes, we have a program at the village here that is called a forgiveness program. And what that is that if someone has a leak or a busted water pipe or something, they can apply for an adjustment to their account one time. And usually I've given adjustments for maybe up to 100, 125 maybe. What I do is I do a calculation of 13 data points and then take an average and subtract that from their sewer bill. I don't give them any credit for water, but I do for sewer. So I had a property who pays just the minimum payment of $84.42 a month usually. But sometime on or about the end of last month, the water pipe broke and exploded basically. And they discovered it when the water was running out into the street. And their bill was $567.81 instead of the $84.42. If I were to adjust this bill with the same formula that I use for everybody else, I would average out the 13 data points, which give me 1782, and subtract that from the 332.42, which means that it's probably about $120, $115 I mean, 200. Let me get the exact amount. 282. So it'd be $324.60 credit. I don't feel comfortable personally giving that kind of credit without council's approval. So that's why I wanted to come through finance. So I would like to give, they've never had an adjustment for before at this property. And the water was shut off immediately when they found it running out the door. So their next month should be back to normal.
Okay, if I understood right, you say this is a one-time forgiveness loan for each resident in Baltimore. Is that correct?
No, Chuck, this is just one person whose water line's busted.
But we only do it for one time. I mean, they can't come back again and say, I had this, unless it's extraordinary, that they want a leak adjustment. That's what it's called, a leak adjustment.
That's what I meant. I meant, so the resident can have one-time forgiveness if something like this comes up in.
A reduction, yes.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
usually, I went up to, I think, $120, $125. That felt okay with it. This one again is $324. Using that same formula and everything, that was a little high. I felt uncomfortable. So
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
And I was going to ask Brandy, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on it?
I'm okay with that, yes.
Okay.
One-time adjustment.
And I am too. I can understand something happen like this. So, we need a motion so Terry can talk to this resident and give him this, the forgiveness loan.
I guess I'll make the motion, allow the adjustment.
Do I hear a second?
Yes, I'll second that. Kurt.
Okay. Any question on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Brian.
Wade,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes,
Okay, motion carries.
that's all I have. Chuck.
I mean, it goes to council, so council can hear this goes to council. So
And they're all shaking their heads or did that. I don't think it'll be. an
they're good
issue.
with it. Okay.
Yeah, it won't be a problem when it goes through council
Yep.
in an hour.
Okay. Any more new business on the finance committee? Nobody? Okay, let's see what time it is. 6:37. The meeting, the council, the finance meeting is adjourned. Okay.
All right. So next you'll roll into rules and hey Chuck.
Yes.
So Jeff told me I have to kick you off.
Okay. I know we talked about it and that's fine.
No,
I just-
I appreciate it. But Darla has agreed to share rules.
Okay.
I guess it is what time?
6:38.
6:30.
6:38, call the meeting to order. Let's do Brian and Big Roll. Oh.
Reading.
Darla. I mean,
Yes.
the first name is Darla.
Okay. Chopper, or you ready to come back? No, just Corman.
Present.
And we also have the mayor, the administrator, and myself here.
Along with Brandon and Wayne.
Along with Brandon and Wade and Chuck.
And do we do the minutes?
Well, So I think,
Once Chuck's back.
well, because he's
No,
not
no
on,
longer there.
I think in this case, we can say, we can ask Jeff but I think, Rick, you can make the
Motion
motion.
to approve.
You can make the motion. I think technically in this case, I can second it. And so that they get approved. And go on.
Well, Foreman motions to approve minutes is written.
And then I would second that, noting the other two members were not on council last year. And then we'll ask Jeff, but I'm pretty sure that's how we've done that before.
Will we take a vote then?
Yeah.
Yes, you two?
Yeah.
Okay. Foreman?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. And then we'll,
Who gets a sign?
Awesome.
yeah.
So it's got Mike come up with his name. Yeah. Who gets a
Awesome.
cross his name and write your name.
And then if Jeff wants it done differently, he'll let us know.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I guess we don't have any visitors. So given the 2022 goals, cemetery project,
Are we going to keep the cemetery project under the goals for rules?
Do you want to?
Okay, so we are continuing to scan deeds. Today she got done with section A at, she being Terry got done, I believe, with section A at Maple Grove. So what we're doing to let you know about this project. So like all villages, cemeteries are kind of an afterthought. So, but we have to record deeds, and we have to, when we sell a plot, we have to record the deed. Consequently, the documentation was on notebooks and post-it notes and you name it. It really wasn't organized. So one of Barb's projects before she left was starting to organize the cemetery to make sure that everybody basically is buried where they're supposed to be buried. So last summer we had Annabelle did a inventory of the people at Maple Grove in the front section. Basically what happens is you virtually have to walk it, put it down, and then we have a really nice, put down who's there. And then we have a really nice record now that Barb created that we can go in, we can look at somebody's name, we can find exactly what grave they're in. Now, we had a couple of questions on who was buried where, and I think we've got all of those resolved. But it's not unusual for small villages to have this kind of filing system. So I wanted to get it organized because I was uncomfortable with it. And so we have started, I thought this would only take us a year to do. I'm looking at all of the work and it's going to take us all of this year also, and maybe into next year. So it is a big, big project now. I know my husband's village, he's doing the same thing, but Kenyon University, Kenyon College, I mean, they have interns that are studying, what would it be, anthropology?
Anthropology.
Who's doing theirs as a project? That would be nice. We have to hire someone to do that. So basically, it's going to be a while to get our cemeteries done.
And I think the reason we keep it on,
Mhm.
I don't like having council goals and committee goals being staff goals. But I think this is going to delve into some rule changes
It will.
for the
It definitely will.
cemeteries.
Yes. And we have two cemeteries that probably will never be able to organize like that. The Methodist Cemetery and the Plaza Cemetery on Market Street. So that's kind of what the cemetery project is, and I think we need to keep it in the forefront. Just like the mayor said, we're going to be doing some changes to our rules and regulations. So that's where we're at on that.
any questions? Second thing is rules of council.
This was added to look at the actual rules of council, which is chapter 220, to have you go through, see if anything needs changed in it, and if so, what. And then we've also had the discussion of the new council that we mentioned, the new council orientation that does legislation and ethics and all the stuff that the Ohio Municipal League puts on. Council, you are your own police, so I can't force you, Terry can't force you, no one can force you to do that. It's all on you. So a lot of places will have a council role to attend one of those once you're newly elected and then every so many years thereafter. It's totally your choice, but it's part of evaluating council rules. That's something, to look at and consider putting on there. If you wanted to do that. Again, it's totally your choice. For every village that says, that I can point to you that says, yes, you're going to go do this, I can find a village or a city that says, yeah, we're not going to force you to do that.
Are all these rules on this device? So I'm not sure.
The rules of council I sent to you. So that, not this week, but I think the first week of the year. But if you don't have it, Rick, I'll send it to you again, because it's a document, and I thought I sent it to
Is this in
everyone.
our book?
Yes, it's in your book. It's chapter 220 of the
Right. And
codified
if you
ordinance.
want, I can forward
I'm
that.
looking, previously, everything went to both of my email accounts.
Uh-huh.
Now everything's only going to my .org account.
Right.
Are we able to go back to the old way or?
So if you go back to the old way, and Jeff would have preferred to switch it a while ago, but there were a couple stragglers on it. So if we send you stuff to your personal email, it's now subject to public records.
Okay, so we don't want to do that, that's fine.
Correct.
Well, I would think we wouldn't want to do
Yeah.
that.
No.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, not everything in your email becomes a public record just because you receive something from it. But if there's a records request, then someone has to search through it. So I've got an extra paper copy right here if you want.
I would rather just have a digital copy, but
Okay, we can do that.
I'm not in the .org email very often at all. I would just have to make an effort to get into it more often.
And you want me
Now-
to send that to you then?
If you would, so that
Yes.
I'm not digging all the way back for a year. I don't know
It's
how
in the
long ago
shared
you
drive.
sent.
That's what I was wondering.
So maybe Brian can just send it to you. It's in the shared drive. Brian.
Yeah, just send it now. That way it's up with my current stuff.
You're in the
Yeah.
shared.
Do we know when these meetings are that?
I will, while we're talking, look, as of the last meeting, they hadn't announced them yet,
Okay.
but I will hop on and see if I can find a date and see if
Thank you.
they've made any announcements at this point. So I don't know if usually what we'll do is on something like that, we'll make sure everybody gets a copy and then find out, when it looks like would be a good time and maybe we add it as an agenda item to discuss at the next rules meeting.
Okay.
And some of the stuff, if it's more in depth, we can break it out. If you look at, instead of saying, well, we'll just look at all the rules, we'll say, let's look at this particular, or tonight, let's just talk about having all future council members have to attend once it, and break it down into more measured discussion. So once we get it, so we have a month, so maybe by the next one, we'll.
So they're
Right, and
not
we can
on
have
the
some
website?
ideas.
This document that we're looking for is not on the website,
No,
but I searched the website. figured it was there.
okay.
One of these days, hopefully, I'll get all the codified ordinances on the website. They just,
I'm gonna have to look for it tomorrow because before Barb left, she moved our folders over from the previous year, so I'll have to go in there and find it.
It would have been for me too.
Yes, it would have been for me. And it would have been, if you could call up your rules meeting, it would have been an attached document there.
All it would have been in the rule meeting would have been separate.
That's correct.
email.
That's correct. So if you, I can send it to you first thing in the morning.
Okay, so I just put it out here
If you,
as a document on my device.
Yes. now, can I ask a question about this? So, well, I'm sorry if you already asked and I wasn't listening. So how are we going to do this? Every meeting, we're going to take a paragraph or section, or how are we going to, do you want me to send something out that says, maybe you should look at this, so that when we get in the meeting, you can look at it?
Why don't, since we're just getting them or just going to be getting them, look at them and see at the next meeting who has suggested changes and what they are. If we're looking at, if everyone says, let's look at one section, then it's easy. But if we all have 5 different sections to look at, then we can figure out.
Which would be okay for the ones that have been on council for a while, but for the new people, that would be, well, they would have questions. You could ask questions about something you didn't understand. I just wanted to get an organized method of going through this, so that at the end of the year, we're done with this project, because it was on the agenda last year, and we just had so much going on. So that was my only thing. We could go by section, because each section is its own individual standalone. Or we can do what the mayor says. I think that's kind of like an elephant. Does that make
Yeah.
sense, Mayor?
It does, but I guess when if we break it down too granular like that, I mean, your first section is, the standing committees. Okay,
Well, I think we need to look at those standing committees and the definitions.
yeah.
These are your rules,
So-
so you tell us what you would like to
Yeah.
do.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, so I kind of like, if we just divided it into 12, well, not 12, now 10, to have it done by the end of the year.
So each month,
Each month we'll take, okay, this month we're gonna look at this section, next month we'll look at this section, and just we'll put it on the agenda. Or like that.
I think,
Why- So why don't we take that and split it into 7? Because then that way the changes can go to council for 3 readings
Okay,
yeah,
to be enacted for the next year.
okay.
all right. So I'll put a schedule together. So at the next, when we get your next rules, information, I'll have
Yes,
a
please.
schedule.
And
So 7 sections.
looks like, I don't know if it's. It looks like this will be in person. They will have one in Worthington on March 12th.
Did you not go to that?
I did.
Wait,
It was very beneficial.
They have one in Independence,
I
at
would
the end,
recommend it.
one in Mason. Though that's in person. I'm
What does
kind of,
that mean?
it'll be in person, it won't be virtual.
We'll be sure. Oh, okay.
So,
You said much is fine.
yeah, yeah.
I thought you said
Worthington,
Worthington. Yeah, okay.
Worthington, the double tree in Worthington.
Right next to the- That's otherwise.
and if you all wanted to go together, of course, you could take the red car and just carpool. The village park.
If not, submit mileage. But yeah, 12th is in Worthington. Sometimes they do them recorded, if you don't make it to be able to watch after, if the 12th doesn't work for anybody. And the reason I'm a little shocked that it says it's in person is because on the Attorneys Association last week, I'm on the planning committee for their seminars, and our March seminar is still virtual.
And that's a Saturday
Yes,
from from the hour.
Saturday from says registration begins at 8:30,
So
That's AM.
but it doesn't tell me how long.
you will register us for it.
If
We
you
just
want
have
to
to
go-
be there,
If you, pardon me?
and then we just have to show up and sign in.
Right.
Okay.
We pay for it. If there's a fee, we register you. We can do that.
So you can go ahead and sign me up for my book.
Me too.
please.
Yes.
And then I'll get some sort of a Google Calendar event thing or something. Probably.
Well, now you have, yeah, I can send you a calendar invite now because of your email.
Yep.
And then I'll make sure you got it. Okay.
And I will, here in a little bit, email the link to the little order about it from Ohio Municipal League.
questions about Roseland Council and what we're going to do?
Yes.
Saturday?
Yes. That's why I was surprised also.
No problem.
Right, annexation process.
I don't think we have an update on this evening. We're working on some annexation information, so we'll just keep it on the agenda.
And then while you're on goals, I had emailed out 3 related ones for the committee to consider adding. One having to do with the evaluation form, so that there's a little more flexibility to modify it for the different departments. One, to look at cost of living adjustments, not just merit raises. And then to look at how merit increases are given as a percentage versus a dollar amount, because, 3% to 60,000 is a lot different than 3% to 20,000. And just to look at and consider numbers and gather information about how different places do it, so that we can come up with a employee retention type plan, or, we can't be super competitive with wages all the time, but maybe we can be competitive with, separating out your cost of living from merit, so you're not working to be a good employee just to make the same amount of money this year as you did last year, which is kind of what we have now. So I know there's different opinions on it. I just think it's something that the rules committee is best equipped to look at, as opposed to finance, because it would be, if there were a change, it would be a change to the employee handbook, and that goes through the rules committee.
Currently, once a year, just to let you know, in December, I evaluate all the staff. So we have a system that we inherited from 2 village administrators ago. I think it's somewhat archaic. I don't like it. It's very, very hard to do. And the staff just doesn't, they're like, okay, give me that. And all of them are graded on the same level. So at the end of the year, when you come up with a percentage raise, everybody gets the same. What I have challenged them to do last year, and really a whole bunch this year, is to come up with 1 personal goal and 3 business goals. And that's where I think, to the mayor's point, that's where the merit comes into play, that those that are out there getting those goals done will get rewarded for it, more of a retention thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm not sure that I agree with the dollar amount. I would go percentage.
Well,
And just give more percentage to the people that work harder.
Well, and that can be, I think, part of the discussion to put it on goals, because right now, Rick last year had to make a special motion to give more, because our evaluation caps them at 3%.
And they still took a big hit when it comes to
And
pay versus cost of living. And that's-
Exactly.
everyone did though, and it's almost impossible for pay to keep up at the moment.
yeah,
They're saying 7.5%, but I think we all know if it was done in 1970 standards, it would be a lot.
so flexibility in the percentage to give might be one way to do that as well. I've seen it done both ways. I've been at one place where they've said, okay, here's how much we're allocating for raises this year, $30,000 to go across the departments. Now you figure out how it's going to go. One employee might get $10,000 because they saved the municipality hundreds of thousands of dollars, and others might split up the other 20. It gives you flexibility. The percentage does the same thing. But I think it's something that we should put on as a goal to talk about at each meeting and gather some information to discuss. because I don't think there's any one right way or wrong way to do it. I just think that for a long time, we were behind. We've got great employees, but we were behind in keeping them competitive and with our ability to evaluate them. And so we need to look at that. And so that's why I think, I know I listed out 3, it's kind of one big topic broke down into 3, but you know, worth at least worth the discussion and being on there and to see, who knows, maybe the data pulls out that all we do is change the evaluation form.
Do we have access to the employee handbook?
You can, I can get that for you.
Email that to them.
Yeah, I prefer the flexibility rather than, I think at one point I suggested maybe index it to something. But I don't like the indexing it to something because everybody's different and everybody's opportunities are different. And I you know, I was the one who suggested we go more just because of the cost of living situation. So I'm not afraid to go more. I just don't really want my hands tied or handcuffed in themselves for no reason.
No, I agree. I really appreciate the fact that the committee is going to look at this because I do feel as though the way it's set up now is that we are not rewarding our best. And so I do appreciate that. And the first meeting, and that could be the next meeting if you like, I can kind of explain what the process is that I do currently so that you understand what the current process is.
And so why don't we put it on as one big goal with 3 sub-points, and maybe at the next meeting, we can also go over the horrible
Process.
an evaluation form.
That's what I'm gonna go over. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then I'll get the sent out to you ahead of time. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. All right. So is there any more discussion on the next, I'm sorry, on the percentages that he was telling us about? I'm sorry. Lost my train of thought. Any old business? Any new business?
You have a half hour, so we can start on something if you want it, or we can relax, yeah.
I was given an action item at this past meeting. I forgot in finance. The action item, you were talking about evaluation form.
Yes.
Rick gave the 5%, and you guys wanted me to plug the numbers in. I have that spreadsheet. If you want to talk about that, I know it's not finance related, but I mean,
Anybody have any objection to?
So those, explain it better, those would be, you budgeted at 3%, this would be over your budget
Yes.
based on,
on the 5%.
On the 5%.
So this is the revised budget for 5%.
Well, I
Proposed budget.
don't have a whole budget. I just pulled up the salaries and the benefits,
just this one.
just those lines.
Okay.
And based on the 5% raises, I budgeted 3% and so forth. And
Why don't you go ahead and start talking, Brian, and show them what you have?
I don't know, I'm
And then
doing
if
it right now.
Okay, and then if you have questions,
Right.
this would be good to ask.
Sorry, Chuck, can't see this.
He could, if you put it up there and share your screen.
How do you do that? Oh, wait, I see. Oh,
Nope.
oh,
So. Go, yep, click on Zoom.
over here. Okay,
No,
no,
no, not that share.
not that chair?
Minimize that.
Minimize it.
Okay,
Bring up your Zoom so you get your menu down here.
yeah.
Share screen.
Share screen.
And then you can actually just click right on your spreadsheet right there.
See.
There you go.
Hold them.
No, just double click it. Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
Chuck, can you see that? He's on mute.
Thumbs up if you can see it, Chuck.
Chuck, you're muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so, as you can see, we're at the police department there. The first line is, the first line there is full-time police officers. The budget was called for 162,500 after I plugged in the raises. The additional percentages, we're going to be about $3,700 shy between now and the end of the year. The part-timers is another line, but it didn't affect theirs. It did not affect them. Of course, when you're undercutting the wages, you're also undercutting the police and fire pension by, it's like $682. The severance is showing a hole right now, but I'm not too concerned with that because people will use vacation between now and the end of the year. That's if because at the end of the year, we have a policy, Debbie and Darla, where they can carry over 80 hours every year, of vacation every year, and anything above 80 hours, they get like a check at the end of the year or anything above that. So right now, we're about 3,200 shy of that severance line right there. But I anticipate you will use some vacation between now and the end of the year, so that should be okay. Medical hospitalization. Right now, that's shy of $1,700. And I can attribute that employees changing plans that I did not anticipate. They went from plan 2 to plan 1, or vice versa. And so I did not anticipate that, so that's why that line is showing up. Zoning is next. It's in a hold. I'll turn it over. I'm not too concerned with this one either, because I don't recall any wages being paid out of zoning last month, so that's going to be, that line will be okay. We're okay there. Administrative staff, we're $800 shy there. Now, the reason why it's short there, the new person did not get a raise. However, I wasn't aware of it. After probationary period, they were going to get a slight bump, and I didn't take that into consideration. So that wage is slightly behind between now and the end of the year. Same thing with the vacation payouts. If any, I'm not too, it's in the hole right now, but I anticipate to be using vacation. Of course, PRS is going to be PRS is going to be a shortfall. Medical hospitalization right now is $900 shy. Again, attributed to changing plans as well as I just guessed
So Ryan,
incorrectly.
why wasn't there any change in mine? Like, I'm still to the good. Does that mean that's money I can take? I didn't
When I budget,
enough.
I calculate the wages for a full year, but I always bump it up a few weeks up to like the next. You know,
All right, I just wondered.
give me a little cushion. So I don't have to bug council to move money. We're short on wages for mayor's court. This would be Missy's wages, as well as officer on duty, bail. So, but it's what, $46, so it's not too bad. When you're getting to my range here. I have about shy, $50 shy, $50. So I'm okay with Medicare. I'm thinking about mess it with. Street department's okay, except life insurance. Right now, I wasn't anticipating increase in insurance evidently in the other departments. There was an increase in the premium, and it was higher than what I anticipated. Slightly. So that line is short $40. Water department's okay. Again, severance is in the hole, but I'm sure Joe will take vacation. That was.
That's gonna be an insurance thing.
Yeah, that's medical insurance. Life insurance, dental insurance. For $3. And the sewer fund is in the whole $2,200.
What this is telling me is when we budgeted and we gave ourselves a little bit of cushion for it, And then we gave the 5%, because not a lot of the salaries and wages, they're close.
They're close.
So we gave ourselves some leeway and then ate it up right away with the extra increase. But it's nothing that we
But-
can't account for with our
but-
carryover
And
and
another
additional
reason
funds.
why this one is in the hole is, one of our personnel passed a test, so he got a $3 raise. And
Right.
I didn't anticipate that passing that test, so, that's also factors into it.
Do you want to rephrase that so it doesn't sound like you were betting against?
I'll rephrase
it.
I didn't, yeah, I don't think there's any good way to say that.
So, okay.
I will leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that alone.
All right.
So,
So we have enough though to cover, at the end of the year, we might have to do a supplemental
We
appropriation,
might have to,
but,
yes.
but we have plenty to cover because nothing there was thrown out a huge whack
And
with
then,
the extra
yeah, that's
2% increase.
correct. Now, one
There's
thing I
no
want
total on that column,
Huh?
though? There's no total on that column, though?
no, I didn't, I just, I got the very toe on the side, I didn't.
we got the spreadsheet.
I think I need to answer, explain this one better, why these numbers are so much higher in relation to everybody else. This is the police department, and the one for the street department is, as you can see, is relatively high. 37,000 budget, and I think the other 38,000. We have 2 employees that are retirement eligible. So if they would happen to pull the trigger on retirement, I'm not saying they're going to. We would be obligated based on this program, pay them any vacation they would have, as well as the comp time they would have accrued that time, as well as a portion of their sick leave. And that's at the current rates. So that's why those lines are as high as they are. That would be the business obligation.
And if there is no retirement, that money carries over to
It
next
carries
year.
over next year. But it would get increased based on the updated rate.
And we've already budgeted for both.
We budgeted for both. right? If they don't not retire, then that line, we don't use it, it just goes away and then we budget it next year.
When he says goes away, it
Yeah,
goes
I was
back.
gonna say,
It goes,
I'm
yeah, it
nervous.
goes back,
It sure looks like it disappeared. Let me just put it
Yeah.
that way.
it goes back.
To be reappropriated following.
There you go. It goes back to become eligible to be reappropriated.
Tim had a very colorful way of saying that to you. I forgot what he said, right? When we talked about money that goes away.
Yeah.
I gave you the spread out part. I didn't have a lot of the spread out.
While we're in rules, we have a question.
We always come with the suitcase.
So,
I have a tendency to try to think ahead, what may happen, may not happen. But there's a lot to have it in the budget rather than pay and increase $8,000.
Right, and I will tell you, it's just within the last couple of years, we started doing that, which we should have been doing that before. But the other fiscal officer was not.
yeah.
So, because it is, it's an obligation. and we need to account for it. Good job.
Good on rules minutes. And then-
So, yeah, I was gonna say, I could close the meeting, can't I?
You absolutely can.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
That sounded like a motion.
You motion, I second.
Okay. Roll call?
Three.
Yes.
Yes. One.
Yes.
Next meeting's held on the second Monday, in March 14th at 6:45 or following finance committee.
All right. Good meeting. All right. So now, Brian, it pause on the recording. Go ahead, stop your live stream. So now you go up towards the YouTube.
Oh, yeah.